Momus, also known as Nick Curry, has been making remarkably innovative and diverse music for the last 20 years. After having moved to New York from London 2 years ago, he has picked up his bags again and has headed to his new home in Tokyo.
Yeah, I'm off to Tokyo. I spent 4 months in Tokyo last year. My ideal is really to live in both New York and Tokyo, because these are the cities. I mean, I believe very much in elective affinities, that as you get older, you get experience of different countries, and you find a country or a sensibility in a place that you can really live with and you really love, and that helps you to be who you were meant to be or who you want to be. So New York is definitely one of those places for me. It's a place where there is oxygen for someone like me, and there just isn't in 90% of other cities. So I will always love to come back here. Most of my friends have been Japanese people who are like art students or whatever, just traveling, taking years out from Japan, ending up in London, Paris, New York, and then at a certain point for all of them, they finish their courses or their parents' money runs out and they have to go back to Japan. So it's almost like your friends are dying, but then there's a place where they're going to, which is like heaven, which is Japan, which is Tokyo, and they're all alive there, and you go and find them there. So Japan is my heaven, where all my ex-friends, or still friends, but missing friends, are found.
In a field of corn is a master's shoe. Drink the master's shoe. There's a blue-tailed fly, break a blind man's foot, see a horse's tail. It's down to Finnegan, the folk hero of HTML.
How interesting this has been. Here in Tokyo, it's although the blossom has come out, and we had a big kind of festival by the waterside. The river is just over there, and there was a huge sake drinking and blossom celebrating festival at the weekend. Look at these immaculate Japanese service people. They're sweeping up, and they've got these amazing uniforms. And in here, I think there's a movie going on by Terayama.
If you wanna hear the tale of a tape recording man, travel far and wide through the dusty countryside, tape recording man.
I've had one art show in Chelsea in a gallery called LFL in 2000, which was called Folktronia, and it was really an extension of the ideas on my Folktronic album about how the new kind of basket weaving and bead making might be done with electronics. It might be done with your Avid video editing systems, or with people using Cakewalk or whatever on there. These are the new crafts of our time, and there's nothing incompatible about craftwork and electronics. As Kraftwerk, the group, were quick to point out when they described what they did as industrial folk music. So that was the theme of Folktronia, which was the LFL exhibition. The piece I'm doing for MoCA is called Suffusia. Suffusia, A Beautiful Life is the title, and it's going to be a lecture. It's going to be in a darkened theatre. Somebody's showing slides. It's like an old-fashioned Geographical Society lecture, but it's actually a sort of evangelical lecture about how the world we're going into. It's almost as if Marshall McLuhan were there talking about this new world of colour and light and sound, and how the printed word and spoken word is being replaced by visual and textual culture. But then it's going to turn from mere advocacy to actually embodiment. It's going to embody that idea that somehow our society is transitioning into this wordless bitstream rush, So it's going to turn into, the lecture will gradually become incoherent, and it will turn into just colours and shapes and sounds, and break down and distort and warp and melt in kind of interesting ways. So I just have to sit down and do this. It's sort of influenced by John Cage, influenced by Marshall McLuhan, and it's very much to do with my having been brought up in a literary culture, but always feeling a very deep ambivalence about the word, which limits your experience of the world and makes you see in a particular socialized normative way, and you can liberate yourself from that by just appreciating color and texture for its own sake and trying to make yourself like a baby. And I actually have an article in Metropolis magazine this month about how the Japanese do this with Western cultural products, because I went into a video store in Japan last year and saw that they had A Clockwork Orange, the Stanley Kubrick movie, in a section called Good Furniture. And the idea that Japanese people would go in there and say, oh yeah, I don't care what this movie is about, the fact that it's got some good furniture in it, that's what's really exciting. So it's almost like watching a serious, like a movie version of War and Peace for the for pornographic kind of purposes, and saying, God, that Natasha's ankle in that scene was really so sexy. The idea of watching it for the furniture. So in a way that appalls me, because it takes the morality out of the human narrative, but in another way it's liberating in a Warholian sense, because it's like saying, gee, it's great, everything is great. If we can just open our eyes to the colors and the sounds and the lights, we can be uncritical, and it's such a liberation to be uncritical. What was Warhol saying with those pictures of Marilyn, or with dollar bills, or with Campbell's soup cans? I mean, he was just saying, let's not be critical, let's just say, this is what people like, this is what people want their icons to be, let's just give them it. Maybe that's a lobotomy you give yourself, or maybe it's a liberation you make for yourself. Let's see what we've got here in the software. We've got a PlayStation 2 somewhere under all this rubbish. That's the memory cards. We've also got, this is, what is that? I don't know. Monty Python's Flying Circus, because I get nostalgic when I'm in Japan for kind of British comedy from the 70s. This is porn, DVD of some oral sex. This is some kind of slasher movie where it's a couple of schoolgirls who fight each other for some ridiculous reason. One of them has sex with the other one covered in blood when she's dead, which I don't think would be allowed in any Western country, but here is just seen as rather cute and kitschy. On this is early Derek Jarman movies, I think, or no, it's not, but the one in the machine is early Derek Jarman. A movie called Sloane Square from 1974, which I enjoyed a lot last night. And here's a real life Japanese woman. You're on Channel 67 cable TV in Manhattan. Would you like to say something to the audience of Channel 67? Is that really your comment to New York? Okay, well, yada yada. It means something different for a Jewish girl. It means I'm talking, but in Japanese it means stop it, help, help, help.